Well, thank you very much for that intro, and thank you all for coming here to the coolest room at South Summit in every sense of that word. I'm Henry, I'm a partner at Dawn Capital. We're a London-based venture capital firm, and with me today are some of the foremost experts in the topic we're discussing, which is around mitigating digital risk. So why don't we start off with a round of intros so you know who these wonderful experts are. And we're all going to also mention something that caught our eye recently in the news in the cybersecurity industry and why we think this is such a timely and essential topic to discuss. For me, as someone who often books tickets for events, seeing Ticketmaster being hacked last week, 560 million people's details stolen. Ticketmaster, I think, lost $2 billion of market value, and all that the hackers were trying to sell that data for was $500,000. So for me, this just shows the incredible asymmetry of the cost of doing an attack versus the cost to the business that's going to represent. So I think it's never been more important, especially with more tools and more opportunities to both defend and attack, to really address this topic. So first, Adriana.
Oh, thank you. My name is Adriana Freitas. My voice is a little bad, but I'm going to try to do the best. I'm here representing Master Ventures, but at the same time, I collaborate with a foundation that is unifying the global response into cybercrime, trying to make it easier for crimes in the cyber to be, mapped and be treated. We do have like a data exchange for that. We try to do the best we can on our awareness, and we also do a lot of researching. And one of the things I will be talking here about is like our research on AI and cybersecurity. And one of the topics that I have been thinking a lot these days is also the lack of the risks that we are having now and the lack of talent that we're having in each country. If everybody remember the beginning of the war in Ukraine, all the countries in the world came up in order to help Ukraine on the very first and very aggressive cyber attacks they are having. And I think that is our power that we have on unifying against crime and war and everything there.
Super interesting. So I guess a perspective from the move that cybersecurity can really affect war and safety and human lives, not just my personal data from Ticketmaster, which is much less important. Alberto from MasterCard, love to hear from you.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Alberto Lopez. I'm responsible for the cybersecurity solutions in Europe as product lead. And one of the most interesting aspects that probably we will discuss later is because this morning we were discussing about how AI is affecting the cybersecurity globally and could be part of the very recent attacks that we have seen in the news, even in Spain, with very famous and big companies like Santander, Iberdrola, Telefónica, even the government agencies has been affected. So, and most of people are saying, no, this is thanks to the AI because the artificial intelligence model can help in a very easy way to create these new attacks. But from my point of view and from MasterCard, AI is a threat, it's true, but also it's a good ally because you can use, and there is no other way to do it, you can use the artificial intelligence model to identify exactly what is happening. No? So that's from my point of view, and probably we will discuss a little bit later, so I don't like to extend more. We clearly it's a threat, but also it's a good ally.
Wonderful, thank you. And finally, Victoria from INCIBE.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me today here. I'm Victoria Balbuena, Head of Internationalization at INCIBE. Probably some of you don't know what INCIBE is. INCIBE is the Spanish National Cybersecurity Institute, and the mission we have here is to strengthen the capabilities of the private sector. Private sector meaning companies, citizens, and also professionals. As a part of this big role or big mission we provide different services and different content in order to make available some knowledge for our SMEs and corporates in order to make more resilient their infrastructure to avoid different attacks or different cyber threats. But also we provide services for citizens that they don't know how to use in a safe way technology. Also, we try to promote a better ecosystem in cybersecurity in Spain. We try to increase the number of companies that offer solutions to the market in cybersecurity. That's why we have programs like INCIBE Emprende that try to raise the number of companies as startups in the ecosystem. And also, we want to make them grow and grow internationally. That's the part of the activities that I do at INCIBE. So if you have any questions, please give us a call. There's a number, 017, that you can call if you have anything, any doubt related to cybersecurity. It's a toll-free number, so please feel free to use it anytime.
There you go. That's an offer you can't refuse. 24/7.
24/7, yeah.
Personal response from Victoria.
Not really.
You are responding to all the questions.
So maybe like cybersecurity is one of those words that puts people off and they think this is a very scary and opaque topic. Maybe from Adriana, from your perspective, what is it that we're really talking about? What is digital risk? Why is it an important topic now more than ever in your view?
Yeah, the thing on digital risk that people think that is not with them, if you realize just putting in words, it's like the potential for a cyber attack, data breach, or a technological failure. It could be just a technology failure that threats the security and the integrity of the digital assets. Just in very summarized way, is the risk associated in the use of digital technologies. So if your business use data in your operations, you are open to digital risk. So if I ask here if any of you guys have, shared the password of Netflix with a friend, how many raise their hands? Yes, 1/3 of all the users on Netflix does that. In the beginning, it was marketing. And in 2021, they were losing around 600 million per month. Is that a threat? Is that a digital risk? But if you guys go to Tennessee, don't go to Tennessee sharing passwords. They could put you in jail. But at the same time, if you think, if you use an app, for dating, like, Ashley Madison, you're putting your data there, you are in digital risk. And the company's in digital risk of going bankruptcy also if they don't take care. So, so these types of, what is the name of the city that is in more digital risk now? London.
Oh, great. Okay.
The Russians already said that they're going to full attack London because of the Olympics. So in some way, this is a very bad summary on digital risk. But I think we are all together in this.
So you don't need to be attacked by someone wearing a hoodie in the typical, press image of a hacker. It could be someone sharing their password. That counts. Wonderful. Well,
and the part that changed is now that you can do it. You don't need to be a hacker. You can be, you can download a SaaS. Anybody here want to send 5,000 short messages asking for 50 cents? You can. You download the SaaS, you put the numbers there, and bingo, it's working. So nowadays, the services for you to do cybercrime is out there. It's the same that you have, you can go Revolut or you could go Robolut, or you can go with Robin. It's it's easy to access. It's very, accessible to. So, and that is what it has been changing now. And in the old past, you truly had to study a lot. You had to go and do penetration tests. You had to do a bunch of, spend nights and days to do a hack. Today, you can do a hack in 10 minutes.
Well, Victoria, I guess you're spending a lot of your time helping SMEs be ready for this. What do you think is the role of government and policy to help? How much is up to the individual? I guess what are you seeing working, and what do you think you need to do more of?
Yeah. For us, our INCIBE is, as you said, part of the government, and we try to help citizens as much as possible, citizens and SMEs, which they are like the weakest link in the whole chain of cybersecurity. Especially, in enterprises or corporation, big companies, the biggest cyber attacks are commonly done by one employee clicking where he shouldn't or she shouldn't be clicking at. So from our perspective, we need to facilitate as much knowledge as possible to those kind of stakeholders to use in a safe way technology, but also as governments we have the responsibility in all that chaos that technology brings us to say it like a North Star or where to go. Sometimes, because this is a tricky topic, a lot of people are against rules and against new laws, but new laws and rules set you the path to go through that and set you standards for industry in order to protect in the same way. Because, for instance, one sector that is that receives the biggest or the largest number of attacks here is the financial sector. And they have different solutions in their portfolio to solve that problem. If there's no something like DORA, the new regulation that is coming here in the European Union, all of them are going to be solving the problem in a different way. But with DORA, we standardize some sort of approach of that kind of problems. So if everybody is doing pretty much the same, we can share the information, we can reduce the cost of trying to address the cyber threat and the attack. So it's pretty much a public service doing that. Also, it's commonly said that rules and laws are always behind the market and always behind. So right now in the European Union, I think we are leading the whole framework about regulations regarding cybersecurity and also artificial intelligence. And most of our rules are models to other parts of the world. For instance, INCIBE is part of the OAS, the Organization of American States. And we've been consulting with other Latin American countries that they are part of the OAS, how to deploy something similar to our RGPD. So it's very important to regulate what is chaos, to set a North Star where everybody can go there and not like the jungle law, everybody doing whatever they can to do that.
So you're quite optimistic that we can get to some kind of standardized model where it's not just random pockets of defense and attack. What's your view about, that's the top-down government-led way. Is there a bottom-up thing where, I don't know, is there a change in attitude that you see from the companies you're advising and helping? Is there any more consciousness, any more kind of proactivity, or is it still more of like a stick, you must do this, otherwise you'll be fined?
Not a stick, but it depends on the country, in my experience. Here in Spain, our business culture is more on the reactive way, not the proactive way. So cyber incidents like the ones that have happened recently in Telefónica, Iberdrola, and those kind of companies, they are kind of like, okay, if this has happened to this company, next could be mine, let's increase the budget in cybersecurity. So they react.
I see.
They are not really proactive, at least here. In other countries, they do things a little bit different. So it depends. But for sure, at least I'm talking about what we do here. We listen to the companies, we listen to the market. We are closely working in working groups in the, I don't know if you have heard of the initiative we have, is the Cybersecurity National Forum that is led directly by our president, by Moncloa. So over there, a lot of working groups, they are putting together initiatives and suggestions to pass to our government to move forward and to include in the next Cybersecurity Act that is actually under work to pass here in Spain. So we hear everybody pretty much. We put everything under documents. We put that in touch with the right people, and we must include all the data and information that we get from those other groups and stakeholders in order to accommodate everyone's needs in all the framework that we are working here nowadays.
Fantastic, thank you. Well, Alberto, I noticed that MasterCard wasn't one of the names that's been mentioned as a company that's had a big data leak or a cyber attack. So you're obviously doing something right and not reactive, if I had to guess. Would love to hear a bit more about, what that is, what is the kind of culture that you've built at MasterCard, and what are you
absolutely.
doing?
No, I mean, you are totally right. I mean, we have to do a lot of things because at the end, the complexity of the ecosystem in the digital world is growing a lot. I mean, if you look at, we are coming from a very simple world, talking about digital technology, and right now we are in a very evolving environment. Everyone has every day more webs, more systems connected to internet, cloud computing, edge computing, APIs. So this is a huge amount of number of interactions and opportunities for a hacker to attack you. So just to give some numbers, MasterCard has invested more than $7 billion in cybersecurity solutions in the last years, and we have acquired new companies every few years to incorporate new technology to prevent attacks. And we are also pushing the startup environment, and right now we are working with more than 20 specific startups focused on cybersecurity. Because at the end, of course, apart from our own systems, that I can give you some numbers, every day we receive 200,000 attempts of attacks to all around the world, because everyone wants to connect to the financial institutions, and MasterCard is in the center. So you can imagine, no one has success, of course. But our main objective is just not only protect us, it's also protect our customers. That's exactly what we are doing. And all the products that we are launching in the last years, the focus is just to help our customers to prevent this. And let me put a very simple and visual example. So right now, every company, and the big ones even more, is like a house with 100 doors, 1,000 windows, with 10,000 people entering every day to your house, and with more than 500 providers knocking your doors to give you a packet. So how can you secure this huge amount of interaction and options to enter? It's very, very complex. You cannot do in the old ways. You cannot do what you did 10 years ago because it doesn't work. You cannot do manually. It's impossible to control 100 doors, 1,000 windows to prevent something. So you need an automatic solutions to help you to prevent this attack. So in that sense, we are developing solutions to be proactive, so to be sure that nothing will happen in the future. So you'll be trying to prevent attacks. And in that sense, and I said at the beginning, you need artificial intelligence. You cannot control all these doors, windows, etc. manually. It's impossible. So you need an automatic way that in real time can look at, okay, all the doors are locked, no doors are open, my windows are not broken, everything is closed. I can control, and in this case, for example, and coming back to the reality apart from this example, you need to control all your systems, or your webs, or your database, your mail servers. And recently we acquired a company that is called RiskRecon that is making this real-time assessment to understand what is your exposure in the digital risk, and to be sure that you are closing all the doors, closing all the windows, and repair any window that is broken. And right now we are making assessment for more than 19 million companies and 30 million e-commerce sites. Because just to have some information, if you have only one critical patch that you are not putting in place, the probability is increasing in three times. So 3 times more probability to receive an attack. And if you have 2 patches that you have not updated, the probability is 12 times bigger than if you have everything under control. So, and you don't need to be very lazy, because just with 1 month of delay applying a critical update, your exposure and your risk is huge. So clearly you need to be proactive, and this type of artificial intelligence solutions can help you to look all the doors and windows that everything is okay. But what's happening with all the customers that are logging into your system every single day? Could be customers, but also could be providers. So you need to be sure who is knocking the door, who is entering. So you need something to understand, to identify, and to authenticate all the customers that are trying to enter. So here again, artificial intelligence can help you to identify suspicious patterns, of attacks. You can identify the behavioral biometric of the people that are trying to enter into your house or into your systems, of course, because at the end of the day, you need to know who is behind the screen, that is trying to log in into your system. So absolutely, you need to be sure who is behind. And even more important, and sometimes we are not putting the focus here, is what's happening with your providers. Because the majority, not the majority, but some of the examples that you mentioned in Spain, like Santander, Iberdrola, Telefónica, etc., the majority of them say, no, it's not my systems, it was one of my provider systems, or one of my partners. So clearly, if you are in contact with more than 500 companies making business, you need to be sure that your solution is very robust, but you have to make an assessment. What is the level of security of my partners? What is the level of security of my providers? Because otherwise, you can receive a Trojan horse due to this lack of security of one of your providers. So this is something that you have to do.
Interesting. So we're talking about automation of your operations and supply chain of your providers.
Absolutely, it's critical. The supply chain is even more critical than ever.
I think we should double click on this AI question, because obviously it's the number one topic that we're all thinking about, and you're talking about it as a way to help you potentially scale beyond what you could do just by having more and more people in the security team. Maybe Adriana, it'd be great to get your take on where is AI a risk? Like what is being opened up by the new Gen AI wave, and are we taking it seriously enough in your view?
Yeah, in something like sorry. AI had exponential growth. So if you can imagine that one service could get 100 million users in 2 months, that is an attraction of attention. Everybody want to try to break it. I don't think people here remember, but there was like a bot in Twitter that's called Tai that could only stay 16 hours. Just because the amount of data they put on her just break it, and she started saying things that, pretty much had to cut it down. So, and the same is happening with the models we are dealing right now, from Copilot, from ChatGPT, all of them are being attacked. And if you can imagine, the models that companies are doing, they are being attacked too. So some of the studies on those attacks is, some are very, very known for each other, like the prompt injection. Pretend you are a seller of this car, and you're gonna say yes for everything I tell you. Give me a car for €1, and you buy a car for €1. We don't go that stretchy, but in the United States, they had a case like that. They put a bot to sell, and because what a company say to you is legal binding, they asked the bot to write the entire legal binding thing and sold the car for €1. But anyway, the other problem is sometimes you go for the language model and ask for them to code for you. And it could be an SQL code, like you need to go in the database and do something. But sometimes you don't know that machine learning had been untrained. And you pick up this code, and in this code, it's not only doing your query, but it's also deleting the entire database. So this is called insecure input handling. It's your fault that you run the code you gave me. So we need to have men looking at what machines are generating to not deleting one entire database. And also is the training on poisoning data. You can send a bunch of things, you can put a bunch of inputs saying your company is the best. In 2 days, ChatGPT was telling your company is the best. So those things are what is called that adversarial attacks that is very risky. The other thing is pretty much disseminating, spreading, bad information, disinformation. And this can be even harder to get because everybody's Googling and thinking is this is the real. I asked ChatGPT and this is the real thing. And it can be a little more impact on society if we think that this year, 64 countries are voting. It's like half of the entire population of this world is voting. And if you can use that for your bad, you're truly putting the entire. So we need to take the risk very seriously.
Interesting. So you're seeing like huge risk for generative AI in terms of disinformation, potentially manipulation of the systems by people who understand. Like your example of the sell me the car for $1 was quite funny, but you could imagine a lot worse. And I don't know if that got enforced, but a lot of seriousness says. I guess how can we, Alberto, you must have had to help push this risk up the agenda and get the board interested in a large organization. How do you get it out of like this is a technical problem for IT to solve into this is a existential or business issue? Any strategies that you can recommend for getting people excited?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not easy. But what I could say, the best way to convince them is just to put numbers on the table. Yes. Say, okay, what is the risk that you are suffering? Just only one data breach, in average, costs, apart from the brand reputation, etc., just real numbers is more than $4 million one data breach. And of course, you have to put on top all the brand reputation affecting, et cetera, that probably are much bigger than these 4 million in average of the cost of the data breach. So clearly, this is one important thing for the board. So they probably say, oh, that's important, so we have to put in place this cybersecurity solution. Thanks to regulation also, and thanks DORA and other regulation in Europe, more and more companies are more conscient about the importance of the cybersecurity. But additionally to that, I would like also to make an assessment in advance to say, okay, this is the assessment that we can do to present your cybersecurity. We can make a benchmark in your industry. What is your level of security comparing with other competitors, and say, so I am below the average, or I am below my competitor, I have to put in place some new things. And additionally to that, sometimes could happen, could help this type of hacking ethic, making those simulation of attacks, saying, okay, you are not so secure as you think. No? So at the end, it's a question of figures and evidence that the cybersecurity is very, very important, and no one can be saying, no, I am not affected, or I am secure enough. Maybe you are secure today, but maybe in the next month you are not secure. So it's something that you have to put in place every single day.
Understood. So there could be in a case for attacking your own CEO, you're saying, just to get more budget.
Could be.
Yeah, wonderful. You might lose your job, but never mind. Wonderful. I think we're almost out of time, so I guess we should wrap up with what we have. We'll probably have time for maybe one question from the audience, if there's anyone has burning. Yes, you are burning to ask something.
Yes, sir. I have a question. Giger has been in favor for the implementation of anti-cheat measures in the kernel of users, and this is a commodity industry and entertainment industry. And I wanted to ask if we can imagine a future where the security of these companies, this wall that we're raising in our house, is not starting in the industry but in the user's devices. And if we can imagine that, how are we going to balance cyber security with privacy?
I can take that.
Okay.
One point here is the companies needs to be aware the risk they take every day, even for the employees to come to work. Like in the old times, internet wasn't inside companies. So it was in research centers. We put internet inside companies, people start receiving emails. And the fact that you can receive an email with like a happy president, and you do it like that, and the entire finance of the company goes on that hole, is a big burden for a company. So if you want to work in that company and they ask you to use a brick phone when you are inside the company, is what they can do to protect them. And for sure, your privacy. Who saw the series on Apple that you go in a different world and you forget everything, sovereignty or something like that? So that is exactly, it's the extreme case. We don't want to arrive on that extreme case, but at the same time, every employee needs to know, and you said right, how danger is for a company in order to have, the offer they have for the employees.
But
I'm going to have to.
If I can add, okay.
We're going to have to wrap up. I'm
Okay.
sorry, but we've had some great insights here in the importance of regulation and government action, on engaging stakeholders in the organisation, pushing it up the agenda, automating more because we can't keep up otherwise, and all of these speakers are available for more. Victoria's available 24/7 as we've established, and it just remains for me to thank our experts for their wonderful contributions and to wish you all a great rest of the conference. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.